Let me tell you something I've noticed over the years. When you get together with other married couples, like for example at a barbecue, dinner gathering, or any other occasion, and then this married couples usually has the habit of being open about their private married life. And somehow the conversation always turns out into a venting session. For example, my wife is like this, my husband is doing like that, and I don't like it. Tons and tons of complaints. If you are single and you attend this type of gathering, you most probably will hear these married couples telling you not to get married or to be careful or to just enjoy life and go the other way, telling you enjoy your freedom while you can, or just drains the life out of you. And look, I don't know the full story of each married couple I met. I don't know who did what, or the one who's being unreasonable, or the one who's at fault. But because of these conversations, the observations I had, and what I witnessed from these married couples on why their marriages fail or why they fell out of love as the years passed by, I noticed five common reasons on why marriages crash. I'm not talking about major reasons, but I'm talking about certain habits in which these married couples slowly fell out of love, or you just wake up and you realize that there's nothing left anymore in your marriage. So let me break it down for you. First, you don't actually talk to each other. Like, really talk. So instead of sitting down and discussing and resolving it, both actually just stay silent and just keep on guessing. So if you are guessing, then these negative thoughts will also swirl in your mind. If you continue this type of attitude with your spouse or partner, then it keeps on piling up until you could not take it anymore. The funny thing is, instead of directly talking to their spouse or partner, they instead vent it out or lash it out or tell it openly to their acquaintances, to their friends, to their colleagues. So if you're doing this, can you ask yourself first, if I talk to my friend, to my acquaintance or colleague, will this solve the problem? The answer is obviously no. They will just maybe tell you, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, what can I do to help? But actually, they cannot do anything. The best thing that they can do is maybe to give you some advice. That's all. I think it might be of great help if you will directly talk to your partner or spouse about it. In that way, you will have peace of mind. Your conflicts, your petty fights, your arguments, or your differences with each other will be solved. If you ask your friends, or even with the ones I witnessed, usually the marriage explodes or ends with just a small reason or a petty fight. So it's not really because of a major reason. Yes, there is like among the 100%, there's only around 20% that marriages fail because of major reasons. Second is no patience, just blame game all the way. We all have egos. Because of human nature, we always want to be right. But we have to remember that marriage is not a courtroom. And marriage, it takes two to tango, meaning the two people involved in a marriage must face each other, must work it out together. It's not really easy because the person you marry will not always be the same as what you like, as what you don't like. Third, you stop caring about their feelings. So, for example, if you say to your spouse, I feel hurt, I don't like this, and then when the other one responds only by being silent or gives you actions that says, I don't care at all, or rolls his or her eyes, the other person will surely feel distant. If the married couple, if the two gets distant with each other, then of course, where does it go? It goes to the path where marriage is destroyed. So it's very important for the other person to say, how was your day? Most especially if your husband or wife comes home from work, or just give a random hug, or just give a very sweet gesture. That really helps in a marriage. And once that distance is there, it's hard to close it again. Fourth is a third party. But I don't just mean a person, or I don't mean cheating only. Everyone thinks third party is a person or some form of cheating, but actually it's not. Third party can be a vice. For example, gambling, drinking, and other actions that are bad. And aside from that, third party can also mean prioritization over work. For example, sorry, honey, I have to answer this email. I'm so sorry, I can't talk to you because I'm very busy with work. And if both couples get used to this, then distance will happen. And if distance will happen, marriage will start to deteriorate or fail. For example, if you are too much addicted with sports and you prioritize your playing in sports rather than spending some time with your spouse, then that is also considered a third party. Or if you spend too much time with your friends more than your spouse, that is also a third party. But here's the one thing that is considered a third party that surprises people: family. Always remember, if you get married, your husband or wife becomes your first priority, not your family. Yes, you will still love your family, you will still care your family, you will always be there for them. But above all, if you get married, your husband or wife should be the first priority. That doesn't mean you abandon your mom or dad or your siblings. So let me give you an example of a couple I witnessed. I know this couple. So the husband is easygoing, very simple, a very simple man, and he's actually very easy to please. But unfortunately, the wife, from the start to the end, she kept on prioritizing her mom, her dad, or her siblings over her husband. The husband is actually not asking for much. For example, they had this date night and they went to the city for a movie date night. And then suddenly the mother of the wife called the wife to let her come home as soon as possible because she needed an ointment or cream. And actually, that ointment or cream is not really urgent or life threatening. The wife can just give it to her mother anytime. But unfortunately, the wife chose to cut off their movie date night and go back immediately to her parents' house just to give the cream. And of course, the husband's reaction was like, "You don't need to hurry up." He was telling his wife, "You don't need to hurry up to give that cream." But the wife still insisted. And also another thing, her siblings straight up disrespect her husband, or even sometimes indirectly disrespect him in so many ways. But unfortunately, the wife also does not defend the husband. She does not make any comments. She does not do anything at all, because for her, interfering is not good. In my own opinion, if your husband has the right to be defended and was disrespected in a bad way, then sure, you must defend your husband, because in that way the husband will feel the love and care of the wife. So when the wife did that, the husband felt very hurt, disappointment, and this has piled up for how many years, until the husband exploded in the wrong way. So the husband cheated on his wife. Well, they were talking before, but whenever they talk, the wife cries out and blames the husband. So the husband actually, he vented out. He said that any talk with his wife will just result to stress, to drama, to more headaches. There are no resolutions left. So that's why he stopped talking with his wife, like stopped discussing the problems with his wife as well. And because of all of that, the husband felt invisible in his own marriage. I'm not actually excusing for what he did, the cheating thing, but for him, the cheating was an escape from his suffocating marriage. It was a breath of fresh air for him. For him, it was the only way in his own situation that he can at least enjoy. And it's just really sad that I have seen this in most of the couples nowadays. So it's really heartbreaking. Number 5, and the last one, is loss of respect. This is actually the biggest reasons why marriages fail or marriages get destroyed. Because, come to think of it, if you have respect, you can adhere to almost anything that pass by your marriage, whether it's obstacles, challenges, problems, fights, differences. Respect means you don't curse at each other during a fight or an argument. You don't belittle or mock your spouse. And most of all, you don't hit your spouse during the most intense moment of your arguments or fights. And here's the thing most people don't realize: couples don't usually break up over one huge disaster. Instead, couples break up over one petty small reason, and with that comes with piled up of unresolved differences, unresolved fights that has not been solved. At the same time, it also comes with the attitude of, I'll deal with it later, or let's talk about it next time. And if you continue to do that, one day you will just wake up and said, how did we get here? How did our marriage fail? Why was it destroyed? If you're married right now and you're seeing this, please hear me out. If you keep tolerating this stuff and not resolving it, not discussing it with your spouse or partner, then eventually you will fall out of love, or your spouse will fall out of love from you. But the good news, you can change it. Start talking, start listening. Put down the phone, defend each other, be patient, respect each other, most especially when you are having an argument or fights. It's not easy, I know, but it's really worth it. Your marriage is worth it. Thanks for being here. See you next time. Peace.